Today we're out in the desert and I've got a new drone with me, and guess what? This is not a DJI drone and it's actually really good. This is the Autel Evo and we're gonna talk all about it. So I've been working with this drone for a few weeks. It's not like I just pulled it out of the box and I'm gonna do a review just on like one flight. I think when you work with a product, you should try it out in a few different scenarios and really see how it performs. So I've taken it out to the mountains where it's super cold and freezing, and then I've taken it out here where it's completely different environments. I've shot a few different times with this drone just because I really wanted to get a feel for how it works, how it operates, how it flies, and just the entire experience around the drone. If you guys have been a part of this channel, you'll know that I review a lot of DJI products on this channel, and just in general, DJI has been making some really awesome products. However, there is something important to disruption in the industry, and competition brings out good aspects. When you have competition, you'll have people competing for different features, different price points, and it helps the entire industry as a whole because there's more innovation going on. So I'm happy to see that another company has come out with a drone that I actually really like. The Autel Evo is an awesome foldable drone that has some killer features. And one of the things that stands out the most for me is that you can shoot 4K 60 at 10-bit. And so what that does is it allows you to do some more heavy color grading, and 4K 60 allows you to do slow motion in 4K. So some awesome features for this drone. Its competitor is the Mavic 2 Pro, and it's kind of in that range of drones in terms of size and flexibility and what you can do with it. In terms of getting up and starting to fly, I've had zero issues having it connect to the controller, finding GPS. It's a quick boot up, and you're off there flying. And in terms of range, it works very well where the signal really doesn't cut out unless you go behind like an object where any drone is really gonna cut out. So I've been flying out here in the desert, and once you get over here to these hills over there, as soon as you drop below it, you'll cut the signal. But in general, like, it's a very strong signal. It works very well, and I've had a good experience working with it. Now let me show you some of the footage that I've been getting out of the drone. This is all shot in 10-bit, 4K 60, and I color graded it so that you guys could see what the potential is out of this drone. So I want to show you some of the features of the controller, and as we're flying we can kind of go through some of the features on the screen that I actually really like. So when you look at the controller, it's kind of nice that your phone has a mount on top so that you can mount it just directly on the controller, but it's not down below where the DJI is down here and it's in the way of your hands. So you got these little hand holders on the bottom, which is great for holding the controller. And what's great is you have the same type of button layout that you're gonna find on a DJI drone. So you have like your camera over here, you have your exposure over here, you have a couple buttons here, a couple buttons on the back, you have your takeoff and landing, you have your return to home. And if you're coming from a DJI drone, everything works pretty much the same way, which is really cool about going from one company to another, is having a very similar layout. So let's get this going, let's take this off. So when it comes to the actual app, and I'm gonna show you just as a screen record here, we're gonna go through just a little bit as we're out here flying, but what's really cool is that everything's pretty easily accessible with this drone. So on the menu on the bottom, you have everything that you need to set up for flying. So you can set up your modes, you can set up your resolutions, your frames per second, and you can turn on your manual settings down here, change your white balance, your color settings, and you can even do a digital zoom, which I honestly wouldn't recommend because you can just do that in post. So just shoot 4K and then you can zoom in later in post. You have your photo and video super accessible right here on the front. And then you also have some more settings on this button on the end, which turn on things that you don't really need to have access at your fingertips at all times. Up in the upper left-hand corner, when you click this button, you get to some of the automation modes. Now for me, when it comes to automation, I typically only use the track and the orbit mode. Now what's also cool is you have your other screen here that has all of your information. You have the time remaining till you need to come back. You've got your status, your signals, your distance, and everything is very easy to see right here on the screen. And I like the fact that your phone is at the top versus being underneath. And one thing that's awesome about this drone is it has visual obstacle avoidance. If you turn this on, it won't run into things. And what's really cool, and you can see as we're flying around this Joshua tree here, is that it gives you a actual visual representation of where the object is in relation to the drone. So you can actually see the wavy line that shows if something's closer and which side of the drone it's on. So it's a cool little visual thing that this system has. So in terms of the footage that I've been getting out of this drone, I'm actually super pleased with the results. It has a very good look to the image, and it's a very easy drone to fly. You could just pick it up, start flying. If you've worked with a drone before, this acts like any DJI drone that I've worked with. And one other thing is that this drone is super fast. So I've noticed that it responds well, that if I let my fingers off the controllers, that it stops like it needs to stop. It doesn't drift, it doesn't have a bunch of weird little issues. So far I haven't found any like weird quirks with it in terms of flying. It just works as a drone should when it's out flying. So like I said earlier, this drone, the Autel Evo, is pretty close to the Mavic 2 Pro. The big advantage between the Autel Evo and the DJI Mavic 2 Pro is that the Mavic 2 Pro is much more expensive, especially when you get all the pieces to go along with it. So with the Evo, you get a cheaper drone and you get some really awesome features, and this is definitely a pro level drone because of the 10-bit internal recording. So guys, if you are in the market for a new drone, I highly suggest taking a look at the Autel Evo. It's awesome because it folds up, you get some great color science out of it, and you get 4K 60, which is something that you don't get on a DJI drone of this same size and this same style. So if slow motion at 4K is something that is important to you, then the Autel Evo is definitely one that you should consider. Guys, there'll be a link for you to check out the drone in the description, and then if you have any questions about it, put it down in the comments down below. All right guys, I'll see you on the next one.